Hey everybody, welcome to this video tutorial. I am about to share with you what is the difference between positivist and interpretivist and use it to apply to the theory and methods which will include those debates. As always, massive thank you for watching. Click like so I can collect quantitative data. More importantly, leave a comment if you have got any questions, thoughts, feelings, or any other qualitative data, and make sure that you subscribe if you want to see more videos as they happen. For this video tutorial, there is also a handout. If you want to print that out, you will find it in the description box and in the comment section below. And what I'm just showing you so far is the specification, as knowledge about positivist and interpretivist can be used to answer a range of different questions. So apart from the explicit mention of bullet point number 4, the relationship between positivist, interpretivist and sociological methods and social fact, they can be used as evidence in near enough all of the bullet points, some more than others, but this video is going to show you exactly how you can use them. The main sociologists that you should know when discussing positivist and interpretivist are, for positivist, the main man, Big D, Emile Durkheim, functionalist and also Auguste Comte, who incidentally view sociology as the queen of sciences. Since both of these were writing during the Enlightenment period and scientific knowledge had the status, the prestige, that both Durkheim and Comte wanted to elevate sociology to this status. Now, on the other hand, sometimes referred to as anti-positivist, interpretivists have a different focus for sociology. Rather than being scientific, they want to uncover meanings. So, for example, Weber, in his research into Calvinism, tried to demonstrate how a shift in meanings could actually influence a person's behaviour, which can then have a wider impact on society and instigate social change. So rather than being a structural or a top-down approach like positivist, interpretivist are more of a bottom-up approach. As positivists want sociology to be able to replicate the methods of the natural sciences, they tend to favour methods that can produce empirical data or data that can be measured quantitatively, such as experiments, statistics, questionnaires and structured interviews. On the other hand, interpretivists have a totally different focus. They want to gain empathy with those that they are researching, choosing more qualitative methods such as observation, unstructured interviews and documents. And Weber refers to the empathy that is gained from these as being verstehen. So whilst I'm discussing the methods that positivists and interpretivists favour, it is also important to consider the main research design. Now, the research design, when using the scientific methods, tend to be highly controlled. They tend to be preset. So, for example, if you were using a structured interview or a questionnaire, the questions will have been set in advance. They may have preset answers for the respondents to choose from, closed format and fixed with a clear interview schedule, for example. Experiments will also have a control environment where the variables are controlled in order to measure the cause and effect. Even the sample technique will be standardised and controlled in order to collect a representative sample. Now, on the other hand, the interpretivists aim to be non-scientific because they're observing real-life settings. So, for example, having an unstructured interview in somebody's home, like Oakley did, basically a natural environment, you're doing this to put the participant at ease. So it is in this case that you're possibly uncovering highly sensitive and personal data. And sometimes interpretivist methods may be more informal and often can be unexpected. So, for example, James Patrick got the opportunity to get into the gangs that he was researching in the Glasgow. They tend to be flexible. They're able to follow up interesting leads that something or someone might say. And often interpretivists are studying areas of society which may be deviant or sensitive and therefore have to rely on a more non-representative sample techniques such as snowball sample. With positivists, there may be a range of practical considerations, for example, booking a lab, printing off questionnaires, which will all add to the cost. However, not all are like this. So, for example, statistics are often readily available. Usually, they're following a preset procedure, and specialist skills can be trained for. This is unlike interpretivist methods, which often require some specialist skills of gaining access and good interpersonal skills, good memory, for example, or being able to observe body language, and just generally gaining a rapport in order to put the respondent at ease. Ethically, on the other hand, the research design favoured by positivist, like I said, is usually preset. It's usually determined in advance, so consent is often gained prior. If it's not informed, then usually scientific methods tend to have a debrief after the research. This is unlike interpretivist research that often poses a lot of ethical limitations such as deception, lack of informed consent. Patrick, with his study into the gangs, left the group abruptly, gained guilty knowledge of violent and illegal acts. So the practical and ethical considerations of positivist and interpretivist often differ quite dramatically. Moving on to the theoretical concepts. Positivist's main goal in society is reliability, and we know this by the research design. It is fixed, it is preset, and that means it's easily replicated by other sociologists. Data that is quantitative tends to be easily measured and also collected about a large number of people, so often can be generalised, leading to the second main goal of positivist, which is representative. Other concepts associated with positivists tend to be things like being objective, measuring social facts, they are structural sociologists, and looking at society from a large scale, being macro. On the other hand, the interpretivist main goal is validity. They want to uncover thoughts, feelings, be able to empathise with the people that they are researching with, and data that is qualitative often gets that goal of validity. Now, other concepts at a glance that you would associate with interpretivist are things like being subjective versus the hen, meaning getting rapport with the people that you're researching and establishing the free will that people would have when choosing their behaviour. So starting to explore the debate in relation to positivist and interpretivist. Now, Durkheim believed that it was possible and desirable that sociology could be a science. He used his study of suicide to prove that an individual act, such as suicide, could be a result of social forces in society. For example, social integration and moral regulation. In the countries where there was high social and moral regulation, suicide was low. Whereas in countries with low integration and moral regulation, for example, Protestant countries, suicide was much higher. Now, this, of course, is refuted by interpretivists who argued that suicide statistics are a social construct, which are made by the coroners themselves. So, should sociology be a science? Well, according to positivists, yeah, because it can be objective. And behaviour is a result of the social forces, which is observable and measurable. We can get empirical evidence. In Durkheim's case, the study of suicide. And it is the role of sociology to uncover these correlations, to see cause and effect. So, in summary, they argue that yes, we can study society in a scientific way. Now, interpretivists have a totally different focus. They believe that it is impossible as humans, we are not like rocks, we are not like plants that are studied by the natural sciences and cannot be measured in the same way. Behaviour, on this hand, is more subjective. Humans are not predictable. We have free will, and behaviour is a result of decisions that people make every day. People tend to attach meanings to their behaviour, and in the case of the coroner in the study of suicide, they use assumptions. They look at past suicides. They look at social influences to determine whether a suicide is a suicide. And also, as interpretivists, they focus on the reasons why a person commits suicide, not just the patterns of it. So overall, it is the role of sociology to uncover meanings, and the non-scientific methods do this best from the interpretivist point of view. Regarding the value-freedom debate, Durkheim argues yes, Sociology can be studied in a value-free way. They argue that objectivity is something that is desirable and possible, especially if you are using the scientific methods that we have outlined already. Using the methods used by the natural sciences, it can be value-free. Positivists believe we can study the social world in a detached method, and the measurement of data can be set apart from the variables such as your age, your class, your gender. They don't influence whatever you're recording, which means that the personal biases will not influence the patterns or the variables being measured. Furthermore, the nature of science is that it's an open system. Other sociologists can challenge the data, so being objective is essential, otherwise the research will be discredited. Now, interpretivists have the opposite view. They believe that it is inevitable that sociologists' values or bias will enter research in some way or another. So, for example, Goldner argues that different sociologists have different assumptions about how society should be. So, for example, Marxists will have a totally different focus to their research compared to functionalists. Humans have free will. They are influenced by those around them, and things like the Hawthorne effect, social desirability, interviewer effect, all of which will impact the validity of the research and add value to what is being studied. It's also important to note that bias is inevitable in choosing what to research. Feminists naturally will have an interest in the lives of women. Marxists focus on class inequality. And likewise, events in society will have an impact on the research being conducted. Finally, what about positivists and interpretivists when looking at social policy and the impact of sociology on policy making? So early positivists such as Durkheim and Kant were writing during the Enlightenment period. This was the age of rationality and reason, and any scientific advancements or sociological advancements were there to make society better for everybody. So for example, Durkheim being a functionalist, he wanted to promote consensus and social cohesion. And Durkheim himself, in the analysis of society, suggested a meritocratic education system because he believed that that would benefit everybody. So for positivists, the role of sociology is to uncover social facts and even identify social problems scientifically, like you would if you were studying medicine in the natural sciences, that you would look to provide a cure for it. Sociology should be providing solutions too. And using quantitative data, this will provide the government or the state with objective information, which is measuring the patterns of behaviour and often suggesting policy solutions. Sociological research using scientific methods that are vigorously tested with a large sample, usually society-wide, will offer representative data, and because it will benefit a large number of people, they are more likely to influence government policy compared to the small-scale research which is favoured by the interpretivist. On the other hand, interpretivist methods tend to be small scale. They're often into deviant groups or based on anecdotal evidence, often which is someone's opinion on something, which doesn't provide verifiable evidence that can be used on a wide scale. They tend to be opinion based rather than factual, like statistics might be, and therefore they are not often the basis for social policy in themselves. However, interpretivist research can be used alongside the large-scale quantitative research, a process known as triangulation, which can give human stories to illustrate the social problems that a widespread positivist research might uncover. So as always, massive thank you for watching. Hopefully you will know the difference between positivist and interpretivist. You'll link it to methods, research design, and to those important debates as well. If you now know and now understand, please click likes. If you have got any questions, you leave them in the comments below. Any links that I've referred to, please have a little bit of a look at the comment section also. Okay, massive thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye.